I don't need you don't need everybody to believe in you. You don't need 15 offers. You need one coach to believe in you, and you need one coach to see you for what you can be and your potential, right? So don't get discouraged. I think a lot of people, they'll go in and they like to compare to their other teammates. Oh, well, these coaches have offered them and these coaches are talking to them. It only takes one. So keep doing you and keep working, and the work's going to eventually show and the work's going to pay off, and just keep waiting for the right fit.
Stay with you. And speaking of offers, can you explain to our audience how scholarships work at the Division II level for you guys?
Yeah. So we can have at the D2 level, you can have up to 10 fulls. But when I say 10 fulls, that can be broken down anyway. So, I can give 20 guys a half scholarship. Theoretically, you could have whatever amount through a full scholarship. That it can vary a little bit from program to program, what you're actually given out of that 10 full allocation. And then also what varies a lot in the Division II level is, depending on the institution, most places you can stack your academic stuff and your athletic aid. So it still matters to have, we're now just off GPA. We're not test score anymore post COVID, but you can still stack your academic aid with some basketball aid. And there's a lot of opportunities to still kind of piece together. We have 14 on our roster, and a big hunk of those are going to school for free between everything. But it's kind of pieced together a little bit more compared to some of the other levels. And again, we can sit there, and if we find the perfect recruit, we can still offer them a full scholarship just basketball wise. So that's kind of how it works. But again, it can just vary a lot from institution to institution. What you're allotted and how your academic aid works. So I'll let Coach go, because you guys are a private school, right? So that could be a lot different depending on how your setup is.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. We're allowed to stack also. Again, being a private school doesn't change too much. But yeah, same thing. You get 10, obviously. Not all Division II schools are fully funded too. So not all Division II schools have the full 10 scholarships. So that's also something to consider, that they're not all the same. Like Division I, where it's pretty, even out. You've got this is your roster. It's going to be, but you can break it up in any way you want. So yeah, similarly, almost all of our players are on what you would call a full scholarship, but again, it's not all basketball. And I think that's what confuses people a lot of times, is that they might see the number and they think that they're not getting as much as someone else. But again, it all depends on academics, and makes us want to recruit better academic kids, because the more money that they get academically, the more money we save on the basketball end, and then we could go get another player and add to that. So our rosters are a little bit bigger. We had 18 to start the season. And that's just kind of part of, again, the changing how our school does it, and the larger rosters at this level as well. But the way that we were able to break up the money due to the academic side.
And I just add to that, from what you all do, what you guys do can really help kids, but don't just I forget sometimes as a coach, and I try to be really thorough on this stuff, but I forget sometimes that I'm maybe offering 4 to 8 kids a year or whatever. And sometimes people are going through this offer process for the first time as a family, as a recruit. You have to be able to ask about that and specifics of that, and be able to see that written down. And we do it all written down. Not everybody does, but if you can't sit and be comfortable to ask that to the coach that's recruiting you, or the coaching staff that's recruiting you don't want to go there anyway. That's not a ridiculous question to ask, and that they can lay out that scholarship and just ask for more details on what does that mean. Because and then you can ask about, like, when can I commit to that, or how long is that offer on the table too? Because I could call 15 kids and offer my last scholarship, and I would want to know, if I was that recruit, is that gone as soon as somebody takes it, or is that just to me for a while? So some of those conversations need to happen, in my opinion. And if a coaching staff's not willing to have those conversations, I don't think you want to play for that coaching staff, and they're probably not being quite forthright with you.
That's great. That's great advice.
A girl right now, 6-foot kid, high school kid, Josie. I don't know if I told you about it. If I didn't, I apologize. But she committed to a Division II school that just won their league, and she just got her scholarship offer today, and they're going to set up a call to talk through that. And exactly to Coach Murken's point, they're going to lay it out for and explain it to them so they understand it. So I think that's a huge thing that coaches should do. And if they're not doing it, that's a red flag. And Coach, thanks for pointing that out. I want to shift gears now to NIL money. I know that's been a huge buzzword that's popped up in college athletics over the last few years. And I don't know that a lot of families and high school players or even JUCO kids fully comprehend what that is and what levels can do as far as NIL. So I'll go to you, Josie, first. Does it exist at the D2 level? Does it exist at Berry? And if it does, how does it work at your school with NIL money?
So yes, it does exist. Berry, we haven't really utilized that yet, and that's kind of one thing that I think is in the Division II world, it's becoming more because it's so apparent in the Division I world now, and I think it's going to start making separators at this level between people making decisions. Right, a lot of that. Again, it's such a new landscape that I think that everyone needs to get on board to be able to make that. But it comes in a lot of different ways, right? It's not going to be as high scale as you're seeing on like the TV. And I think that's what people aren't understanding, that it could be smaller things. And I think a lot in the Division II is a lot more local contacts and, things like that. It's not going to be so much from the university, from my understanding. But I don't know if, Coach, you want to jump in, maybe have a little bit more experience with that.
Yeah, it's an interesting landscape. Some of my good friends do this where they're the GM at the Division I level. So the first thing that I tell people is, I think whatever you're hearing people tell you, you should divide that by 3 of what you're actually going to get. Now that's some of the big boys that are doing that stuff. At our level, we have about 10 guys that have some sort of NIL out of our 14. Now, most of that is a little bit more what I think it was intended to be. In the past, there's a yearly charity basketball tournament for a young woman that passed away in an accident. They have a youth tournament. Our guys come and do a dunk contest and a 3-point contest. They sign the paperwork and then they walk out with $250 of Wild Wings gift cards. A little bit more of that sort of stuff, maybe so than what you hear on TV of Michigan giving somebody $13 million. But it's getting more prevalent. We have a lot of D2s and ourselves included are starting to partner with companies that help set that up. We have everybody in our program, in our entire university athletic department, has the opportunity to partner with a company that does like the jersey. You can get a football jersey, your name on it. They get a percentage of the sales for that. So at least you can do those sort of things now. We have 6 guys that are pretty active in that and then all of our guys buy them from each other, and they're wearing their shirts for warm up. So it's kind of a fun thing more than anything, than anybody getting rich. But it's starting to get to the point where we have some guys on some commercials locally. We're in a market where, we're a regional university, and our state only has less than 1 million people. It's smaller than the town that Josie's in, but we're kind of the big show here because there's no NBA team, there's no D1 team here. So our guys can be in a commercial and get paid for that, and that sort of thing. And we're really actively, it's changed a little bit now where the athletics department can be a little bit more involved at the big school level. There's revenue sharing with the TV markets and that sort of thing, the TV income. At our level, though, we can't take the money, but we can facilitate a little bit more than we used to be able to, as far as our foundation people or our athletic directors, talking to local businesses that may have, $5,000 that they want to pay somebody. No, there has to be a tangible return on that. So our guys would have to run a camp that kids could come to for free or stuff like that. We've really been making a lot of headway in this, and something I'm really excited about for us, because we have a kid that's leading the nation rebounding, and he's leading the nation double doubles, and he's going to have all kinds of opportunities. And we need to, if we're going to keep him, he's going to have a package, because he's going to offer packages from other people. So I don't love it the way it's going, but it's become a reality. And again, like Coach was saying with the transfer portal, you have to kind of evolve in that die and use your resources the best you can to take care of your kids the best way you can and get the best kids that you can. So certainly something that's been evolving for us a lot in the last probably 9 months, where we've gone from nothing to having it offered athletics department wide.
That's great.
Josie, if there's a high school player out there that wants to get on your radar at Berry, what should that player do to get noticed by you?
I think be super intentional, right? First off, the emails, like we said, make a connection, show that you've done your research, have the right people reaching out from you. I love hearing from high school coaches. Coach mentioned I love hearing from other coaches in your region, other people that might have a connection with me already. And then biggest thing is get on our campus. We all host camps, right? And if you know where you want to go, if you're in the area, right? Or if you're not going to go to University of Miami, don't go to their elite camp, come to the Barry elite camp, right? Like get realistic with what you're doing and really be intentional. I think that's the biggest thing because the amount of people that reach out to us, the amount of kids that we see on a daily basis and hear from is crazy. And so the ones that we see at our camp, the ones that make the effort to recruit us back a little bit, I think is definitely the first way to get our attention.
Matt, same to you. How do they get on your radar?
Coach nailed that. Be intentional about it. Get to campus. We can host you on an unofficial visit anytime, almost the whole year. The camps for us are huge. Just like Coach said, you can come be coached by us. You can have a feel somewhat what like a practice is going to be like, how we coach people. Do you feel like you're getting better when you're at Barry's camp or Minus? If you feel like you're getting better, that's half the battle, like as a college player. Like if you come and get better for 3 days or 1 day at an elite camp, you're going to get a lot better when you get into one of our programs. So do that. And, it's not, we've offered 2 of the kids we signed this year at our elite camp. And we knew about them before that. And that doesn't mean we're offering everybody that's there by any means. There's a lot of people there. But we're going to watch everybody that's there. And if you've emailed us and reached out to us, we're going to have our eyes on you, and you're going to have a much better chance of being seen there at that camp than you are at an AAU event with 100 teams and 500, whatever that is, 1,000 players that we have to sift through. So that's just huge to me is get in touch and trying to get, if you have 3 places you want to go, you should go to those 3 places for camp if at all possible. Or at least get on campus for, we have sophomores calling us and coming up to a lot. Hey, we don't have a game on Saturday. We'll come to your game. Okay. Yeah. You've been up 2 or 3 times and you're a good player. I'm going to watch you pretty dang closely from here on out and see how you develop your junior and senior year. And I still think there's, sophomores doing that are going out of their way, or, if your AAU team is playing in a tournament and there's a couple places along the way, stop in on campus and see if you can meet with the coach and meet them and shake their hand. And then I always tell guys, like, man, you know who I am now when I text you, and I'll respond to you, if you reach out to me. I'm not just somebody you don't know. Like, I'm not that hard to talk to. You guys have realized that now. And so just trying to be intentional about it and get on that campus is absolutely huge.
Guys, I keep speaking to the audience because our audience are players and parents. So, Josie, how important is, in your opinion, is social media presence for recruits, and what do you look for or avoid when checking a player's social media?
So I think that social media should be used in a positive way, right? Like, again, Twitter, that's huge. We use it a ton. Making things easy to access, having your highlights pinned at the top, maybe having some sort of way of getting in contact with you in the top. Like, use it as another resource recruiting wise. It's always great to post highlights and things like that. And again, the personal side of it, I know I'm young and stuff, but we joke about, if you don't want your parents to see it, we don't want to see it either. Right. We don't necessarily check and stalk, social media to like really looking, but if it was coming down to between 2 players, like if we're really, weighing our options and one is all basketball and one is a lot of personal life, we're probably going to lean towards the all basketball. Right. And I'm not saying that's your personal life can't be on there. That's fine. You do you, but you've got to have that balance, and it's got to be appropriate, because when you get here at our level, especially, you're going to be tagged. Like, personally, you are going to be tagged here, and you have a great game and all that sort of stuff. You're going to get followers, and people are going to be looking at your account, and we got to make sure that it represents our program well and it represents the school well. But definitely using it as a resource for recruiting makes our lives a lot easier when we are reaching out and wanting to get in touch with kids.
Yeah, coach is really good. It's awesome because we don't know each other before this, but being at the D2 level, we recruit a lot the same way at 2 very different institutions. And, none of this stuff is new to us, but maybe it is to some of the people listening. But as Coach said, use your social media to build your brand. You have a brand as a player. We're looking at that. I would say, and as Coach said, just have, be professional about it. You're using that to try to help you meet your goals. And so do that. And then, I think we can also spot out, some of those kids that are kind of using the recruiting process as just to kind of be an offer chaser and get out there. And it's all you see is that they're blessed to be offered by this team, that team, that team, that team, that team. And the kids that are counting them down, this is my 13 offer. This is my, we're not going to recruit you. Like, you know what I mean? You're doing it for the wrong reasons. Probably. You need one good offer. You don't need 13 offers. You need one of the right offer, whatever that may be, the right offer for you. So that's kind of what I'd say. What I'd say on that is, and we're going to check that periodically. Like, we're at an event and we're watching whatever the St. Louis Sharks play, and they're playing against another team, and some kid on that other team's killing. We're going to maybe check your socials real quick and just kind of see what's going on with you. And if there's a phone number on there, okay, we get in touch with you quickly. If we can't track you down, then it's maybe not worth it. And it's on to the next game, and we kind of forgot about you. So for sure, have your contact information pinned, or maybe some highlights pinned to kind of keep us make it easy for us to recruit you if that's what you're wanting to do, and kind of build your brand that way.
Matt, what's one thing you wish more recruits and parents knew about the Division II level?
It's an awesome level. We're doing all the same thing as the Division I level, but I think it's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more people focused, maybe. And then the other thing is, there's 100. Shoot, there might be 150, 200 D1s that have no interest in playing us because they know teams from our league regularly beat them. There's some really good spots in D2, coaches in a very good league. But there's also levels in D2 as well, right? So you've got to do your homework as a player. As if you were a D1 player and you got offered by, let's just say Kentucky in men's basketball and Kansas, and then you got offered by a small D1 that's 6 different words. I won't say anybody's name, but let's say, and you wouldn't say, well, I'm going to go there because it's in Texas. You'd say, I'm going to go to the high major. And there's levels of this too at the D2 level. And there's some leagues that are better than other leagues. And there's some leagues that are able to resource wise treat their players a little bit better than, and that's at the D3 and NAI level too. Like, you can't just look at what level it is and say, oh, this school is equal to this school. Cause there's places that are really have great resources, and there's places that don't. And those resources need to fit what you want as a recruit. If you want to play in a great gym, then go to a place that has a great gym. If you want to play in a place that travels well on the road, like, ask those questions. It's got to fit you as a recruit. It's different everywhere, and the D2 level's got some really good ones, and just like any other level, some places that aren't quite as good, and that's up for you to kind of do your research on as a family during that recruiting process.
Josie, anything to piggyback off of that?
Yeah, I'm obviously a big advocate for Division II. I played in the Division II Final Four. And so I've been at that top level, and I can tell you that it is very comparable. In my career, we beat a Division I while I was playing on that team. So I've been there and I've experienced what low-level Division I is compared to high-level Division II, and they are very equal. And I think a lot of times people say, oh, I got a Division II offer, or they post things like, oh, I finally got my first Division I offer. And I'm like, well, you just got a ton of really good Division II offers. And people kind of minimize that a little bit. And I think that's one thing that I wish people didn't. And you don't have to explain yourself when you choose Division II. It provides so many opportunities for you. And again, I like to wear my ring around, and that's pretty cool. Like, I wouldn't have got to experience that if I would have had the opportunity to play, some of those lower Division I, I had all the resources in the world where I was, and was very fortunate. And again, we got to win. And that's, I think, really important, is coming down to it is find a place that fits you, the coaching fits you, the location fits you, and the level is going to work itself out.
Last question, guys, and Josie, I'll stick with you on this. In a couple months, all these high school kids are going to be starting to kind of shift gears and playing with their club teams and going out to their live period events where you guys will be at, as well as hundreds of other colleges. What's one piece of advice you would give to a prospect who's serious about playing college basketball, playing in these events? What's something that they need to be doing if they want to get noticed when they're playing in these live period events?
I think definitely don't take any plays off. Don't take anything for granted, right? It only takes one. We talk about that all the time. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You don't need 15 offers. You need one coach to believe in you, and you need one coach to see you for what you can be and your potential, right? So don't get discouraged. I think a lot of people, they'll go in and they like to compare to their other teammates. Oh, well, these coaches have offered them and these coaches are talking to them. It only takes one. So keep doing you and keep working, and the work's going to eventually show and the work's going to pay off, and just keep waiting for the right fit.
Great. And Murk, besides the kid being 6'9", 240, what can a kid do this spring and summer to catch Minot State's eye?
Yeah, coach has said so many good things. I'm gonna go off what she said real quick, and that's, people forget this. You get caught up. Everybody's recruiting journey is different. It needs to fit you. You need to, if you want to commit early, then tell the coaches that are recruiting you want to commit early. What you're thinking. Be honest with it. Tell them what your schedule is. Say, I need to make 2 more visits to other places. If you can't be honest to that coach, you don't want to play for him. You got to be able to communicate with them. If it feels weird and you feel like, man, I just didn't feel at home there, I couldn't talk, I didn't get a chance to ask the questions that I wanted to, it's not the right place for you. So you should know that right away. And there's no perfect place, and wherever it is, there's no perfect place. So know what you want. And then be willing to find a place where you can ask those questions that fits what you want. As far as the plan goes in this, we can be out a ton. We can be out more than I wish we could be out. So we can see it more in the spring. We can see it more in the summer, and all that stuff. But I would just say it can get to be long days where you're playing the second day, you're playing 3 games each day. Man, if you can play with energy and you can play with joy, I can coach you, because there's kids that look like they don't want to be there. And there's people that act like it's a job for them to be there, or that they're angry at their teammates, or they're whatever else. We're watching all that stuff. It sounds cliche. We're watching all that stuff. I'm too old now. I have 3 little kids. I have enough headaches at home. I have 3 kids that are under 5 years old. I want my guys to be around my kids. They babysit my kids. My kid was on the road trip when we were in the conference tournament last week, and the guys are just sitting with him doing stuff. So I want people that are fun to be around and play the game, because the game of basketball is the best game there is. It's the most fun thing there is. Being on a team is the best thing that there is, because you learn so much from it. And, my alma mater, Concordia, Nebraska, is playing in Kansas in the national tournament, 40 miles from where we play the day before we play. A bunch of my teammates are coming, picking me up, going to that, and then they're coming to my game. And you need to play, you need to have fun and play with those people that you're going to be talking to 20, 25 years later. And there's nothing better than being on a great team with great people. So you got to look like you can be one of those people that can fit on one of those teams that's fun to be around. Yeah. You can accomplish so much. College basketball, so it's like, I think I figured out it's like 400 more hours than a high school season that we get to coach you. You better be fun to be around and love the game. And you better look like you love the game, or you're going to make it at this level. So that's probably the one thing I can say that I think gets forgotten a lot. And then if you do that, you're going to do all the stuff coach said. You're going to be playing hard. You're going to be making extra pass. You're going to be giving high fives. You're going to be celebrating when you win. You're going to look a little pissed off when you lose. That's okay too. We want people that compete. So do all those things, and don't just check off, okay, I went to this camp and I'm looking to see which coaches are there, what the polos are and what they're on there. None of that matters. You got to go somewhere that you love playing. So it's so fun to be out at those for us coaches. And then sometimes, I don't know if coaches say the same thing. Sometimes you get to the 3rd game and you're like, man, nobody's playing hard. And now I was so excited to come here. And now I'm like, what am I doing here? I need some kids that play with some passion and love being here as much as I thought I was going to love being here when I drove 8 hours to get to Minneapolis or whatever it was. So have fun with it, because if you put all that pressure on yourself because you need an offer and all this stuff, you're not playing the right way anyway. Then, you're stressing yourself out. So that's what I would say as those things go. It'll take care of itself. Be who you are as a player. Have fun. It'll take care of itself. You'll end up at the right place if you put a little work into it, and have some people working for you to help you find that right place.
Well, I know we talked all D2 basketball tonight, but that was high major advice that you guys gave. So we really appreciate that. And I hope our audience takes to heart what you guys said, because it is such high level basketball. It's so fun to watch. And we thank you guys for your insights this evening.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Basketball players, are you grinding in the gym but struggling to get noticed by college coaches? Your talent deserves the right exposure, and that's where Net Results Recruiting comes in. Whether you're in high school, junior college, or prep school, we help you connect with college programs, get you promoted to college coaches, and receive expert guidance throughout your recruitment journey. Don't leave your future to chance. Get exposure, get guidance, get results. Let our team find your team. Visit netresultsrecruiting.com today and take the next step towards your college basketball dream.